I'm going to be talking to you about is going to cover the 4 key foundations that I know as a business owner you need to have in place so that you can grow your income, you can get more time back, you can have more freedom and flexibility. But we've got to start with the why.
Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast, the show for clinic owners who want real, honest advice and tried and tested ways of doing things. I'm Katie Bell, and this is the new era of bigger insights and bolder conversations to help you grow a clinic and a life you love. Let's dive in.
I'm really excited to be bringing this episode to you. We are going to be talking about the why. This is one of the first key foundations that, as business owners, we often lose sight of, or we don't even have it in place to start with when we set up our business, when we open our business, when we decide to start growing our business. So if you're not making enough money in your business, if you've never feel like you've got enough time, maybe you feel like your team don't perform in the way that you do. I hear that all the time. Katie, why can't team fill their diaries like I can fill my diary? Perhaps you feel overwhelmed, quite exhausted. A lot of business owners are just on this treadmill of patience, admin, and invoicing, and just overwhelmed with all the things that they think they should be doing in their business. Perhaps you feel like you just can't pull yourself away from less clinical hours, and maybe everybody is being paid more than you are as a business owner. But when we start our business, we have to start from an understanding of, why am I running this business? Why do I not just go and get a normal job? As I say in inverted commas, why just go and get a normal job? You will have started this business because probably you're very passionate about what you do. You care deeply about improving the health and wellness and the lives of the clients and patients that you work with. And as we start our business, it generally organically evolves, it organically grows. And I see lots of business owners who have the business that they have because they've got a good reputation, they're really good physios or osteopaths, and it just grows through word of mouth and their reputation builds. And they jump onto this hamster wheel and they start seeing patients and they get busier and they start opening their diary up more, ending up doing clinical hours over 6 days a week and seeing 60 patients in the week. And you then start having to invoice insurance companies and you start getting busier and you have to send more emails and you have to create more rehab programs and treatment plans. And it just goes quicker and quicker and quicker. And then what happens is we've created this monster, a monster that we can't really get a grip of and we can't control. And that's because we didn't start the business thinking about the end goal. So what is it that we're wanting to try and create here? What is your vision? What's the mission? You've heard about mission, vision, values, and we're going to go on in future episodes to really break this massive category of the why down into really bite-sized chunks for you to help you work through and be able to get really clear about what your why is. But the first place that we've got to look at is where you want to be at the end. So what is the end goal for you? Is it an income goal? Is it a goal to have more freedom and flexibility? Is it a goal to be able to travel more? Is the goal to have a big team which allows you to go and do other things that you're passionate about? So what is the kind of overarching thing that is driving you to run this business? And once we've got the end goal, we want to just work backwards from there. Now, some of you are going to be listening to this podcast thinking, oh, because I can't even think about what's happening next week, let alone in 5 years. So all I would encourage you to do is just think ahead as far as your brain can possibly allow you at this moment. So lots of clinicians I tend to work with are the visionaries in their business, especially because you're all entrepreneurial or you're running your own business. You tend to be great at creating that vision, and we don't necessarily tend to be great at executing that vision, okay? And that's okay, that's a good thing, because we can go and find people to be able to do that for us. But a lot of us are visionary, and some people can project a year ahead, some people can project 3 years or 5 years. So what I would say is there's no right or wrong, you just work to wherever you can get your brain to shift to. And then we've got to start to work back from that. Because when you're creating your business model, and all of you have one, and you're running a business in a certain way, you have a business model already, we need to make sure that business model is aligned with that vision or that goal that you have. And a lot of the time, our business model is actually probably delivering the exact opposite of what we really are wanting to achieve. So what we always start with is really basic questions. If you were to look at your perfect day, how would your perfect day look like to you? What time would you get up? What would you eat for breakfast? Where would you have your breakfast? What time would you go to work? Where would your place of work be? Who would be in your place of work? Activities would you be doing within your workplace? What would you have for lunch? Would you have lunch? Would you go to the gym? What would you be doing at the gym? What time would you finish work? What time would you go to bed? What would you spend your evening doing? How many holidays would you like to have in the year? What car would you drive to work in? Would you walk your dog? What type of dog would you have? All of these things, they feel really simple things to focus on. But ultimately, your business facilitates your life. And so many business owners have a life that has to slot in and around their business. And that's because they've started the business, it's organically grown, they've got on the hamster wheel, they've created a monster, and now it's really hard to change that business model, or it's really hard for them to step off the hamster wheel and focus on those key things that they need to be doing to grow their business, or to be able to get more time back in their business and in their life, to be able to make more income. So if you're listening and you're thinking, but Katie, it's not all about income for me, it's not all about money, I totally resonate with this, because so many business owners that we talk to have real issues talking about money and being able to tell their clients what the investment is going to be for them to work with them, or the cost is what the cost is going to be. And you're gonna hear me talk about money a lot. You're gonna hear me talk about our relationship with money, because we've really got to get okay with our business making us money. The more money that you make in your business, the more opportunities you have to help people on a bigger scale. The more opportunities you have to serve more people. And the more opportunities you then have to create more freedom in your life, to be able to travel. So think about rating your life out of 10. And you could rate it as a whole, or you could say, okay, if I take my environment, 10 is it could not be any better. 1 is so bad I can't even talk about it. What does your environment look like to you out of 10? Maybe about your health. Rate your health out of 10. How much time do you actually get to prioritize your own health and wellness? Family and friends, your relationships. Score those out of 10. And you can have as many different elements to this as you want. But what we like to do, and we're going, again, one of our episodes later on is going to really talk about rating your life out of 10 and really establishing your personal values. What is really important to you? Because that is what we have to use as a basis to create your business and business model from. If you have personal values, which are freedom, travel, experiences, professionalism, a variety of different values, everybody has different ones. But let's take experiences, for example, or freedom or travel. And then you have a business that means that you are clinical 5 full days of the week, and you've got to be working about 50 weeks of the year to even get anywhere near the income that you want to create for yourselves. You're working directly against one of your key values, which is freedom and flexibility. Or you're working against one of your key values, which is travel. You've got no opportunity to travel because the business model and the way that your business is now running is not allowing you to do that. And when we're new in business, we never give ourselves enough time to think about our personal values and what's really important to us. We just jump on the hamster wheel and we just start. And so if you're in a position where business feels hard, it feels like you're trying everything and nothing is really changing, or you don't feel like you're really good at leadership, or you don't really feel like you can make that next jump in income, or to make that next jump in income, you've just got to work so much harder to get there. It's often because you're running a business that doesn't align with your personal values, what's really important to you. And we can do it for a bit. We absolutely can do it for a bit. We can just graft and we can work hard, and I've been there and done that. But after a while, you have to stop and think, why is it that I can't make this next jump? Why is it that business is feeling so hard? And it's often because we're working against what is important and true to us. So over the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about 3 more key foundations. We're going to be talking about the who. We're going to be talking about the how. And our 4th episode is going to talk about me, okay, which is you as that business owner. So we've talked very briefly about the why today in this episode. And I want you to just take from this episode, if you are running a business now, if you're going into your clinic, you're about to start with patients, I want you to think about, why is it you're doing this? And is your business serving you in that way? And if it's not, that's okay. You're in the right place. Over the coming weeks, we're going to really give you bite-sized, easily digestible, actionable things that you can do in your business. But I'm going to have to get you to start thinking about some of these key foundations that, unless these are in place, your marketing strategy will never work. Your financial forecast will never work, because we hear from so many business owners, Katie, just tell me what marketing I need to do to get more clients. And that's a big reason why probably a lot of you are listening. You want to just know what marketing you should be doing to get more clients or patients through the door. And what's really hard is I've got to take you right back to the beginning and give you these key foundations. But I promise, if you put these foundations in place, if you get clear about the who, the why, the how, and really focus on you as the business owner and your own mindset, then business will start to feel easier. We have one of our programs is called the flywheel method. And the reason I tell you about this is because the flywheel is a part of a car engine. Who knew? And when you first start in business, you're the only person pushing this flywheel to turn it and to spin it round. And it feels incredibly hard work, because you might have people working for you, but often they're not pushing the flywheel in the same direction. They're pushing it in the opposite direction. And that's because you as the business owner aren't clear about why you're doing what you're doing. That clarity isn't coming from the top, which means your team around you are not clear and they're pushing the flywheel in the opposite direction. So it feels really challenging. It feels really hard. And then when you get these key foundations in place, that flywheel starts to spin and it starts to gain momentum. It starts to gain energy and what I love to say, traction. And business starts to feel a little bit easier. Okay. And then you keep going, you get more good people who are spinning that flywheel with you, who are creating more energy and more momentum. And your marketing starts to click into place and working, and you start making profit and you start making more revenue, and you're creating more time in your business and more freedom for you to go and do the things that you want to do, which your business is facilitating. So my job over the coming weeks is to really get you to take your flywheel and look at it and make sure everybody that is working in your flywheel with you are pushing in the same direction. But to do that, we've first got to get clear on the why you are running this business. So all I want you to do as a result of listening to this really short, quick episode is to go away this week and just think about your why. Why not go and get a normal job? Why are you still running this business? What is driving you to not give up and to still turn up every day and to still jump on that hamster wheel and keep going and see those patients? And it's because you absolutely love what you do. But I understand that for many of you, you're going to be losing that love and losing that passion because business is feeling really hard and it's not giving you the rewards that you deserve. We're going to be breaking this down over the coming weeks. I'm really excited to share with you. The next episode, we're going to be talking about the who. If you're everything to everybody, you're nothing to nobody. So please tune into my next episode where we're going to be talking about this in a lot more detail. All of the links will be in the show notes below this podcast. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Treat Your Business podcast. Hit subscribe now and keep joining me for bigger insights, bolder conversations to help you build a clinic and a life you love.